The verdant valleys of Kashmir have long been a source of contention between India and Pakistan. Since the partition of British India in 1947, the two nations have been locked in a bitter dispute over this region. Two of their three wars were fought over Kashmir, and the territory remains a major flashpoint in their relations. The line of control, a de facto border, divides the region. However, both countries claim Kashmir in its entirety, turning it into a powder keg of geopolitical tensions. The Maharaja of Kashmir, a Hindu ruler, delayed his decision to join either India or Pakistan, ultimately acceding to India in the face of an invasion by Pakistani tribesmen. This ignited the First War over Kashmir in 1947–48. Since then, the region has witnessed numerous uprisings, insurgencies, and military standoffs. Despite various attempts at bilateral agreements and international mediation, the Kashmir issue remains unresolved. The unresolved Kashmir conflict casts a long shadow over South Asia. On April 22, 2025, the serene tourist town of Pahalgam in Indian-administered Kashmir became the epicenter of a horrific tragedy. A devastating terrorist attack ripped through the heart of the town, shattering the illusion of peace and sending shockwaves across the subcontinent. The attack, which claimed the lives of 26 innocent civilians, was a grim reminder of the volatile security situation in the region. The picturesque town of Pahalgam, nestled in the Litter Valley, had always been a popular tourist destination. However, the terrorist attack transformed this idyllic haven into a scene of carnage and despair. India was quick to blame Pakistan-based terrorist groups for the attack, accusing Islamabad of providing safe havens and logistical support to these organizations. The attack sparked widespread outrage and condemnation across India, with demands for swift and decisive action against those responsible. Public sentiment hardened against Pakistan, and the calls for retaliation grew louder. The Pahalgam attack proved to be the tipping point in the already strained relations between India and Pakistan. In the aftermath of the Pahalgam attack, India vowed a strong response, promising to make the perpetrators pay a heavy price. The Indian government, under immense public pressure to act decisively, authorized a military response against what it claimed were terrorist camps operating across the line of control in Pakistan-administered Kashmir. This operation, codenamed Operation Sindoor, marked a significant escalation in the conflict. Operation Sindoor involved a series of airstrikes and missile attacks targeting locations in Pakistan-administered Kashmir. India claimed that these strikes were precision strikes aimed at terrorist infrastructure and training camps. However, Pakistan disputed these claims, stating that the strikes also targeted civilian areas and resulted in civilian casualties. The operation, launched on May 7, 2025, sent shockwaves across the region. The strikes were met with immediate condemnation from Pakistan, which vowed to retaliate at a time and place of its choosing. The operation also drew sharp reactions from the international community, with world leaders urging both sides to exercise restraint and de-escalate the situation. While India maintained that Operation Sindoor was a success, claiming to have inflicted significant damage on terrorist infrastructure, the operation came at a cost. Pakistan, in a robust response to the Indian airstrikes, claimed to have shot down 4 Indian fighter jets and 13 spy drones. While India acknowledged the loss of 1 aircraft due to a technical malfunction, it denied the downing of other aircraft, dismissing Pakistan's claims as propaganda. The loss of even a single aircraft represented a significant financial and military setback for India. Modern fighter jets, especially those lost in the conflict, are highly sophisticated and expensive pieces of military hardware. The financial losses incurred by India, including the cost of the downed aircraft and drones, were estimated to be in the range of $1 billion. Apart from the financial implications, the loss of military assets also raised concerns about India's operational capabilities. The downing of surveillance drones, if true, could potentially impact India's ability to gather intelligence along the line of control. The losses incurred by India during Operation Sindoor served as a stark reminder of the high stakes involved in any military confrontation with Pakistan. Pakistan, reeling from the Indian airstrikes, responded with military action and diplomatic outrage. Islamabad denied terrorist camps within its territory, but vowed to retaliate against India's aggression. Pakistan's response included artillery fire across the line of control, targeting Indian positions and civilian areas. Pakistan claimed to have shot down 2 Indian jets, capturing 1 pilot. This claim was widely broadcasted with images and videos of the downed aircraft and captured pilot. India acknowledged 1 aircraft loss and the capture of its pilot, but denied the downing of a 2nd jet. The cross-border shelling resulted in casualties on both sides of the line of control. Pakistan reported casualties from the Indian airstrikes, claiming at least 31 killed and 46 wounded. Pakistan's response demonstrated its resolve to defend its territorial integrity and respond forcefully to aggression. The outbreak of hostilities between India and Pakistan sent shockwaves across the international community. World leaders scrambled to contain the crisis, urging restraint and dialogue. The UN called for an immediate ceasefire and negotiations. Major powers expressed deep concern over escalating tensions. They urged both nations to resolve differences peacefully. The presence of nuclear weapons added a chilling dimension to the crisis. The India-Pakistan War of 2025 elicited a flurry of analysis from experts across the globe, each offering their perspectives on the causes, consequences, and potential trajectories of the conflict. Some analysts viewed the conflict as a culmination of years of unresolved disputes, fueled by deep-seated mistrust and a complex web of geopolitical interests. Others pointed to the rise of nationalist sentiments and the increasing influence of the military establishment in both countries as contributing factors. Several analysts emphasized the role of non-state actors and the challenge they pose to regional stability. The presence of terrorist groups operating in the region, with alleged support from elements within Pakistan, was seen as a major obstacle to peace. The Pahalgam attack, attributed to one such group, served as a stark reminder of the volatile security situation and the potential for such incidents to trigger a wider conflict. Experts also highlighted the dangerous interplay of domestic politics and foreign policy in both India and Pakistan. The conflict, they argued, provided an opportunity for political leaders to pander to nationalist sentiments and consolidate their power base. The media in both countries played a significant role in shaping public opinion, often resorting to jingoistic rhetoric that further inflamed tensions. Beyond the geopolitical analysis and strategic calculations, the true cost of the India-Pakistan War was borne by ordinary people living on both sides of the line of control. The conflict brought untold suffering, displacement, and loss of life, turning their world upside down. The cross-border shelling forced thousands to flee their homes, seeking refuge in makeshift camps or with relatives in safer areas. The fear and uncertainty of living in a conflict zone took a heavy toll on the mental and emotional well-being of the civilian population. The constant threat of violence, the loss of loved ones, and the destruction of property left deep scars on the collective psyche of the people. Children in particular were severely affected, their education disrupted, and their childhoods marred by the trauma of war. The conflict also had a devastating impact on the region's economy. The closure of the line of control disrupted trade and commerce, impacting livelihoods and exacerbating existing inequalities. The human cost of the India-Pakistan War served as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of conflict. As the dust settled on the initial clashes, an uneasy calm descended upon the line of control. However, the underlying tensions remained unresolved and the threat of further escalation loomed large. Both India and Pakistan continued to reinforce their military positions along the border, wary of the other's next move. The risk of miscalculation and the potential for a renewed conflict remained a constant source of anxiety. The international community, while relieved that the initial escalation had been contained, remained deeply concerned about the fragile situation. The lack of trust between India and Pakistan, coupled with the presence of nuclear weapons, meant that the situation could deteriorate rapidly. Diplomatic efforts to bring both sides back to the negotiating table continued, but progress remained elusive. The unresolved Kashmir issue, the root cause of the conflict, continued to cast a long shadow over the region. Until a just and equitable solution was found for the Kashmir dispute, the threat of further conflict and instability would persist. The future of South Asia, and indeed the world, depended on the ability of India and Pakistan to find a way out of the cycle of conflict and mistrust.